Welcome to Failed Forward, a podcast for professionals who are wondering, how the hell did I get here?
Join your host, Rachel Durkan, and me, Donna Miller, as we discuss the messy, bumpy, and often unattractive journey to success.
After all, if it isn't hard to do, is it really worth doing? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fail Forward, the podcast for those of us wondering, how the hell did I get here? My name is Rachel Durkan. I'm with Paradigm Marketing and Design. We are a web marketing, branding, and sales enablement agency that specializes, not customizes, in working with clients with a complex sale. So if you have a sales team that wants to get more qualified leads and have more meaningful meetings, and close them more quickly, we can help build a marketing to sales infrastructure that will drive that process. And I am joined every time by my lovely and talented co-host, Donna Miller. Donna, will you introduce yourself?
Of course I will. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us during this episode. I am Donna Miller. I am founder and chief visionary officer at C3 Workplace and Donna Miller Business Growth Consulting, where for 30 years we've been helping professionals and business owners to accelerate their growth by providing advisory and support services around finance, operations, and biz dev. In reality, what we do is help you to focus on that which will actually drive your business forward and give you a way to delegate the rest. And our clients know that by bringing us in, we're going to build efficient, connected, and executable systems. They can execute or we can execute that create the platform for them to scale, to build a company that grows and runs without them involved in the day-to-day. And that is something that is rather near and dear to my heart. So delighted to have Josh Bratspies. Did I get that right, Josh?
You did.
Josh with us today. So Josh, before we get into all the mistakes we made, tell our audience a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Donna. I'm an attorney and a partner at the law firm of Sherman Atlas. I'm a member of the firm's commercial litigation group, and I'm also chair of the firm's securities, arbitration, and litigation practice group, where I specialize in representing financial firms in matters that are unique to the securities industry. I spend most of my days doing one of three things. I serve as a trusted business advisor to our clients, where I help them navigate the challenges of their particular industries. I regularly counsel clients in avoiding disputes and litigation and how to navigate difficult situations that might be facing. And I also serve as an advocate for clients who find themselves in high stakes litigation, both in state and federal courts throughout the country.
Wow.
That sounds terrifying.
It does sound like exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time.
So when the SEC calls me, I'll be like, oh shit, Josh, help me.
It can be FBI, SEC, IRS. There's a lot of panic phone calls.
I hope none of those people ever call me, but now I know who to go to. So, Josh, I imagine this is a high stress, highly intense environment you work in, and you had to be something special to get where you are. So, what was your journey like? How did you get here? Was it always easy?
It's never easy. It's always hard. I have a saying that successful people work hard, and that's true across all industries. The common denominator is hard work. I think perspective is something that's really important to someone in my role. I'm dealing with crisis after crisis. Unlike a lot of lawyers who deal in different fields where everyone's working towards a common goal, my field is we're always at odds with our adversaries, and we want very different things. And we're usually putting out fires. So having perspective can be important because it's always time sensitive. We're always up against a clock or a deadline that's working against us, and there's always very high stakes involved. So keeping an even keel, helping clients see the big picture, not losing the forest through the trees, that's really important when you do the work that we do.
So as you have, grown in your career, what would you say the biggest obstacle for your growth was?
I would say that the biggest obstacle really came to a head for me about 10 to 15 years ago, when I realized that up until that point in my career, I had allowed other people's definition of success put me on a track where I became trapped in the traditional big law model. Like many lawyers coming out of law school, I wanted to go to a big prestigious law firm. I thought that was the way to achieve success in this field. And that's exactly what I did. I spent the next 13 years of my career at one of the big law firms. I worked really hard. I built an incredible practice. And at the end of the day, I rose through the ranks, but something was missing for me. And I turned around and said, what do I do next? I'm, by all objective takes, successful in what I do. I have a very dynamic practice at a prestigious law firm, but there's a component that I'm not feeling professionally fulfilled. And there's not a lot of answers in the market, right? People leave one big law firm and go to another when they're finding something missing from their professional life, but that doesn't really change their day-to-day existence. And I kind of felt trapped because I had been on a path that everyone suggests is the path to success, but it ultimately didn't give me complete fulfillment. And when I started talking to some of my other colleagues, I realized I wasn't alone, that there were a group of us, all of whom were very successful in what we did and had great clients and great practices, but there was a missing component. And we realized collectively that we had an entrepreneurial spirit that wasn't being met at Big Law. And we got to see the amazing things that our clients did in the business world. And we got to help assist them in achieving all these great things in the business side of life. But in our own world, we were a very small cog in a giant wheel. And we really weren't building anything of our own. And what we decided to do to sort of overcome this obstacle that we were all facing was break the mold. We decided collectively, there was a group of 14 of us that said, why do we have to do what everyone's always done? Why can't we try something new that, as far as I know, has never been done before? And what we did is we took all of our practices from a big firm clients, big firm matters, and we started a completely new law firm in July of 2014 and brought all our practice groups together to form a unique platform where we have big firm clients with sophisticated work and lawyers with big firm training and background, but a completely new and flexible platform, all the benefits of a smaller law firm, but with the advantages of big firm practices and experience. So it was sort of a surreal moment when we all realized that maybe what we thought we wanted wasn't going to fulfill us for the rest of our careers, even though objectively we were all very successful.
Amazing. And I have to say that as a business growth consultant, I have worked with quite a few attorneys, and I think that you're not alone in coming out of school and having a certain definition of success in your mind. And all of us, we get closer to it and we're like, this isn't my definition. This is somebody else's definition. And maybe there's a kinder, better, gentler way. And I'm sure, you know, what a pivotal moment for you and your 13 or 14 colleagues to pivot to something that brings you greater personal satisfaction. And I think that especially in that field, as you do that for you, you're modeling that and liberating other people to do the same thing. And I'm sure that you've learned lots of lessons along the way. And the one thing that kind of sticks out for me is, you know, earlier you said, in my field, we're always at odds, which makes it really hard to switch. I would imagine makes it really hard to switch gears and come internal and build a really good team. So I think the shift of how you do it is also, you know, sometimes in these large corporate environments, it's kind of management by fear to some extent. You know, hit your billable hours, you know, utilization. So talk to us a little bit about what are some of the lessons you learned as you created this brand new model for delivering high level, high risk services under this new model. What were some of the lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, it's a great point. And as lawyers who bill by the hour, one of the biggest constraints we have on all of our resources is time.
Mhm.
And when you start a new firm with an existing big firm practice and you have literally thousands of active matters that you're transferring to a new platform, you look around and realize there's nobody here to help us run this business on day one, and it's just us. And that can be a daunting feeling for all of us.
Huh?
But what I really learned through that process was that relationships are the key to success in any business, but certainly in the legal field. And I used to think early in my career that the name on the door is really what mattered to clients and the people that I worked with, and they were doing business with me because I was part of a very prestigious firm that had brand recognition, and that's why they came to us. Through this move, I realized that was not the case. People value relationships, and they build trust and confidence in the people that they know and work with. And the clients that we had at the time that we told we were making this move, not only were they supportive, it resonated with them.
Mhm.
This was something that they could relate to as entrepreneurs themselves. The in-house lawyers that we deal with were envious that we got to go out and be
Well,
entrepreneurs.
you had a belief,
Yes.
you did this with a purpose as opposed to what the world was telling you was success. And I
We were
think
going to do something new that hadn't been done before.
Mhm.
And the way I explained it to the young lawyers who have joined us since then is, this is what every one of you would like to do, sitting around as a third-year law student. You just don't have the expertise and the clients to pull it off.
Mhm.
We waited many, many years to gain that expertise and clientele, and we were able collectively to pull it off and just take the people that we like, that we're friends with, that we want to practice with, and build this incredible new model. So it really is the best of both worlds, in that you can have the benefits of a small firm and a big firm practice, but it took a lot of work to get here, for sure.
So I imagine that move, you're leaving all the resources. I mean, down to having email addresses and IT, right? That you take for granted. Well, I don't know, many take for granted. And now you've got all these clients, all this caseload, and you're like, I'm just gonna walk over here across the street. I'm gonna crush this. Was that jarring for you? Like, talk me through that.
Yeah. So we had a mantra in the beginning that there was no job too big or too small for any one of us.
Mhm.
And we divvied up what needed to be done. I remember the first weekend where we were inputting all of our matters into our systems, just because we had to get them in order to open the doors on that following Monday. So the first person to figure out how to print is the one that taught everybody else how to print. The first person to figure out how to open a new matter taught everybody else how to open a new matter. And it went from there. And over time, of course, we've built out our teams. But those of us that were there at the beginning have this incredible sense of accomplishment of what we've
Mhm.
built, literally from the ground up.
Yeah.
I remember the office space when the only thing that were there were columns and no interior offices or anything else. Those of us that joined as a fully functioning law firm
Mhm.
have a hard time relating to what this was on day one.
And there's a level of pride that you could roll up your sleeves and do whatever it took, right?
Everything that exists at Sherman Atlas exists by design because one of us made a decision to make it that way, which is an incredible feeling, right? Everything from the artwork on the walls to the way the offices are designed, to the office furniture, to the culture. We all specifically came up with this idea, this vision that we put into action and made it reality. So it literally is our baby. We're very protective of it, but there's an immense sense of pride that goes with it.
That's awesome. What a great feeling. So 10 years later, now you have new people coming in, and they're coming into this machine and this culture that everyone there takes for granted. How do you make sure that your new people understand that differentiating factor?
So it can be a difficult thing to explain to someone who didn't experience it, right? We all have this common bond and experience from having launched this firm together, and those that come to us as a ongoing 10-year-old enterprise don't really get that sense. what I try to explain to them is we laid the foundation for something that will be around for all of our careers and has this incredible upside and future potential that's yet to be tapped. And to me, that's the exciting thing for the next generation. We don't have teams and teams of lawyers like many big law firms that are just waiting their place in line to be the next generation. The future of our firm is still yet to be written. And that to me is a tremendous opportunity for young lawyers to be entrepreneurial and be the next chapter of this very exciting venture.
Yeah, I could talk for hours on this topic. I love what you're doing. And I've always said that it's intrapreneurship. You know, you're in that corporate environment, but you're an entrepreneur within the corporate environment thinking like that. So, okay. So as we run up against time, unfortunately, which is what happens, great story. If you could go back, is there one thing that you would do differently?
Yeah, I think you need to think outside the box from an early point in life. And I think all of us fall victim to what society dictates we should be doing and thinking way too infrequently about what we want to be doing.
I love that.
The path that most of us get put on is because that's what we should be doing. You should go to a good college. You should go to a good law school. You should go to a good firm. That's what you do to be successful, which is what I did. And I was very happy doing it for a lot of years. Met incredible clients, got mentored by some of the top attorneys in the country, and got to be in a position where I could make this leap and do this new venture. But had I thought about it earlier on, it's probably something that would have set me on this path earlier in life. And I wouldn't have gotten to the point where it was an obstacle. It would have been a path that I was choosing early on before I had a problem to solve.
So Josh, totally inspiring. Unfortunately, we're running up on time. So tell our audience where they can find you.
So Sherman Atlas has offices in Florham Park, New Jersey, and Midtown Manhattan. You can reach us obviously online, social media, and we do most practice areas. We have a corporate group that represents closely held businesses. We have a tax trust and estate group that represents high net worth individuals. We have a banking transactional practice that represents lenders in transactional matters. We have a real estate group. And as I mentioned, I'm part of the litigation team. So we service clients all throughout New York, New Jersey, and we'd love to make contact. So please reach out to us. Happy to give everyone tours of our office, which are pretty cool. We have a client who's a well-known rock and roll photographer. And
cool.
We decided when we started the firm that why put stuffy old law firm artwork on the wall when we can put up pictures of, Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones.
Nice.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Josh, thank you so much. And we're gonna continue the conversation another time. But so thank you all for joining us for this episode of Fail Forward. How the hell did I get here? And we want to encourage you to embrace the concept that failing forward is how you get from where you are to where you want to be. So until next time, be well, everyone.